unrecognized extensions and corrections of Darwinism that run so counter to many sociocultural hopes and expectations, as in the principle of imperfection embodied in the title example. Hen's Teeth and Horse's Toes, 1983, had an immediate focus that now, and happily, seems a bit outdated, but by no means dead. The attack of creation science, biblical literalism, upon teaching evolution, and our victories both in courtrooms and in cogent and decent argument. The Flamingo's Smile, 1985, emphasizes the importance of randomness and unpredictability in the history of life. This theme had a double and immediate origin at two levels: my own bout with cancer at the most personal, and the proposal and successful development of the asteroidal impact theory of mass extinction at the broadest and most general. Bully for Brontosaurus, 1991, following a longer gap for rumination and synthesis, then put the two central themes together: the mechanics of Darwinism with the unpredictability of complex temporal sequences, to form, finally, a full-scale disquisition on the nature of history and its primary theme of contingency, also explored in my intervening Wonderful Life, 1989. I like to think of these volumes as building rather than replacing. The old foci carry over and weave together, tightening up thereby and leaving room for new extensions. Yet one theme of transcendent and growing importance has been almost absent, and shamefully so, from my writings heretofore. How can any naturalist, any self-professed lover of diversity, ignore the subject of anthropogenic environmental deterioration and massive extinction of species on our present Earth? Oh, I have not entirely bypassed this central concern of my profession. Side comments and paragraphs abound, and even a full essay or two, Essay 29 on nuclear winter and the Flamingo Smile, for example. But I've never addressed this theme centrally and head-on. My reluctance reflects no failure of strong feelings, quite the contrary. If anything, I've desisted because my feelings are too powerful, lying in the domain that Wordsworth described as thoughts that do often lie too deep for tears, and perhaps for words as well. I have never found any distinctive words to convey these common emotions. I could not bear merely to write the shibboleths of the movement, or even worse, to emote for show, catharsis, or accountability, but with nothing different to add to the hyperabundance of current expostulations. Perhaps I have finally found something to say that might be helpful rather than only repetitive. 8 Little Piggies includes a section placed primus inter pares on the sadness of anthropogenic destruction. But if I have finally found a voice, I came to it in my usual way, entirely unanticipated and via a quirky item arising from a personal experience then adumbrated along a forest of tangents. I went to French Polynesia with my son in the summer of 1991 and learned that the island of Moorea had served as the model for Rogers and Hammerstein's Bali High of South Pacific. I also knew that Moorea and other adjacent islands had recently experienced a tragically unnecessary extinction of a large, beautiful, and historically important fauna of land snails, the genus Partula, that had been the life's work of Henry Crampton, a great scholar of land snails who was revered within the profession, if unknown outside. My technical research is on land snails, so this is my community. Finally, I had a place to stand by focusing on the cruel and ironic erasure of Crampton's lifelong struggle rather than only on the animals. I could construct a humanistic reversal for the usual focus on animal victims, primary and perfectly appropriate, of course, but so often said by people with a far better sense of the necessary poetry. The Bali High setting was irresistible, especially with the titular pun of unenchanted evening. So I rented South Pacific, bless the VCR as a new research tool, and wove a nexus of humanistic references into a piece that tries to construct a reversed, people-centered perspective on the tragedy of extinction. But I could also use the emotionalism of Ezio Pinza in his great song to end with a re-reversal and acknowledge, as must be done, the primal and primary rights of nature and her beauty.